Hello, everyone, and welcome back to My Opinion. And so, the test series between India and England starts on the 5th of February. And the thing is that it's not actually very long away, with today being the 27th. But I kind of think that cricket fans, especially Indian cricket fans, we are all kind of still in a hangover from India's victory in Australia. And so, I kind of feel that we haven't really got into the mode of picking the bones out of kind of what may be for the India versus England series, a series that I'll definitely do a preview on. But coming to those two countries, they've kind of. I was born in India. I was born in Chennai, and I came here at a very young age, and I've been living here for about 17 years now. And so those two countries have basically, they have been two big parts of my identity. And I just wanted to kind of do a different type of video where I just wanted to like talk about how those two countries have impacted my life. And it could have been any other way. So I do contemplate things quite a lot. And so, especially just about how life can go for anyone. And so, about life, I feel like life is, the 100 years of life is like it's kind of like a canvas of possibility. And so you could follow any kind of route. Some things are in your control, other things aren't. And the things that aren't in your one of the things that aren't in your control is kind of your background, your ethnic background. And so these two countries, it kind of fitted conveniently for me, or at least I think it fitted conveniently for me, because this isn't in a detriment to any other country, but I'm just saying that obviously there are cultural differences. And so, me being from anywhere else, I couldn't really think about, I would probably be, especially in the way I think, maybe, quite a bit different to what I am now. And I feel that being raised in the Indian way, and it has definitely impacted the way I think. I mean, not that it's not like too different from, let's say, a normal human being, but I'm saying that with each culture comes its own unique perks. And being Indian is definitely, a culture that has quite some unique perks compared to others. And it's again, look, any country is a good country, but I'm just saying that, especially with the fact that I like cricket and I've been a cricket fan for 10 years now, I honestly don't know how it would have, of course, at least can't think of how else it would have worked out, if I had followed or been born into any other situation in life. And me also living in the UK for as long as I have, I feel that I've kind of got it's kind of like a new dimension has been opened out to me. So, my roots being with India, and me knowing about my roots, me speaking my language fluently. I speak Tamil fluently, and I don't know how to read or write it, but because it was, it's still spoken in the house, I do, still speak it fluently. And English kind of came because when you've been living in a country for a long time and from a young age, I mean, it's not even like I tried to learn it, just other people spoke it around me. And so I basically developed, speaking English even with the English accent. And that's, because I have gone to nursery, since nursery, I have been here maybe even longer than that. And yeah, that's the reason why that was just starting off to say, where I'm from and getting into it. I came, as I said, to England at a very young age, and obviously, I talked about the fact me learning, the languages. One, my mother tongue being spoken at home, and the other one just me learning English because it was spoken around me. And I'm saying that as far as the two countries are concerned, I feel that, in my life, they've been very complementary, because I am very grateful for the opportunities that the UK has offered me. And I guess that it has definitely affected my opinions of things, which I will get to, and has, as I said, broadened my horizon, which I'll also get to. And Yeah, as I said, with me being Indian, cricket kind of complemented it because, yeah, my first exposure to cricket was my dad was watching the World Cup, and one day it was, so this was 2011, and one day there was the India versus Pakistan match, and it was a kind of time where I thought I wanted to see what it was all about. I mean, clearly everyone, people really did care about it, and I wanted to see what it was all about. And it was very convenient that it was an India Pakistan game for me to really get into the game. And I remember when Virat Kohli caught that catch off Misbah Haq and India won by 21 runs. And there was me kind of left thinking, I finally got into the thing that I never really got when it was on TV. And so I was very enthusiastic to watch the final between India and Sri Lanka. And even when India won, I couldn't understand why everyone was so happy. I still kind of just went along with it. And ever since then, me watching my first IPL game between the Chennai Super Kings and the Kolkata Knight Riders, where I believe MS Dhoni was booed because after he won the 2011 World Cup, and CSK I think won by 2 runs because MS Dhoni quickly ran, got a ball, and I think there was a run out. And that was my first exposure to the IPL, and yeah, ever since then it's kind of grown. And this is me still liking cricket 10 years later and liking it even more simply because of the fact that through experiences, I've understood so much more about the game and developed my own views, and hence why I kind of really started this channel. And yeah, that's on the cricket. And so about like just the different mindsets and so I also like football. And in this country there's a lot of the EPL following, and there's kind of a thing where they don't really think about other leagues that much. Really, it's kind of all about the EPL. Whereas I mean in India, as far as I've seen, a lot of people support Real Madrid. And once again, it's a brilliant club to support. They've won 3 Champions Leagues in a row, and so they know what they're doing. And I feel that it seems very different. I definitely feel like I actually never got football, so this is just my experience in England. I never got football for a long time, and it's kind of because I've always been interested in cricket ever since year 3, and so it took me a while to see what there was in football. Everyone was talking about it, and it was something where I kept on thinking you can't really go to many people. Yes, as I got older and I got more friends, I did find a lot of friends who like cricket, but especially in primary school, it's not something where you can go to people and talk about because they probably wouldn't know what you're saying. And that's why it was always kind of bugging me a bit to say it would be really good if I could know at least a little bit about football. And in a way that if someone talks to me about it, or if I need to kind of be involved in a conversation, I could still go and talk to a group of people. And it took its time because of the fact that it first started off. So I kind of just I saw Arsenal once, and it was the first club I kind of watched. So then I just thought, all right, I'll support Arsenal. And still then again, it still kind of took a while to warm up to the idea. I mean, this was ages back. I just kind of got a glance at, I believe it was a North London derby, and I just still I never really warmed up to it. And then I started playing FIFA, and I guess it was really FIFA 15 and FIFA 16 that kind of started my interest, because I gradually, when I was walking past people, they kind of just mentioned players who I remembered from the game. So because of that, I knew what team they played for. And because I kind of tried searching up football videos, watching a few highlights here and there, and with people talking about it, I slowly I was effectively, I knew what was going on every week in football. And for a long time in doing that, and also getting the One Football app, and watching a few ESPN FC videos and kind of seeing what everything was about, because especially as I grew older, especially in mid secondary school, it was something that I really wanted to get into, and that's the reason why I watched the ESPN FC videos and started watching more matches. And yeah, alongside cricket, I'm very happy that there's another thing that being in this country, yes, there are a lot of people who love cricket in this country, but I'm saying it isn't something that you can go and talk to the average person about, because especially at my age, there are a lot of people who are into football, and that's the reason why I kind of got into football, and I really like it. And you could kind of see that there's a difference between me talking in cricket and talking in football, and for the simple reason that I still have a way to go in football. I mean, I hope that you all enjoyed the football videos, and I still feel that even though I'm not really tactically, I don't know much about tactically in football, I still feel that I could kind of make the videos just by what I saw. And in the end, pointing out mistakes, so on, pointing out, kind of good pieces of play, I guess it fit in with a lot of people's opinion. It was true in the end, they did do those things. And I still, despite the fact that I'm not really tactically that, adept in football, I still do feel that it's been something that I feel very happy that I've got into, and once again I've formulated opinions on what I've seen. And despite the fact that it still has a long way to go to get to the cricket level, because really the time I thought of getting into football was in the year six, and there was a 2014 World Cup, and I just kind of saw how big of an occasion it was. And ever since then, I kind of thought it's something I should get into. And it does have 3 years of catching up to do, probably even more than that in terms of what I actually know in cricket, where, as you've seen, I've been able to kind of really single out points in the game and talk about them. And I do feel like I have a way to go, and you may even see there've only been about, I would say, 2 football videos on my channel so far. And that's because of 2 reasons. One reason is because, let's face it, a lot of the games have been snooze fest, especially this season. Ever since it was behind closed doors, especially this season, it really hasn't been very great. And the 2 videos I have made are on the Champions League, because the occasion kind of makes it better, and the football just seems to be better. And that's the reason why my football videos, and I will definitely make a video on the ties coming up in I believe February the 16th in the Champions League. And yeah, that's just my thing on football. It was a very good. I really liked the fact that it's kind of been an added thing in my life where I could relate to the people around me while still having, friends who talk about cricket and football as well. And yeah, sport has been a very big part of my life in kind of making friends at school. So about India and England. So going to India, and I go to India every year, and we go for 6 weeks. And every time I go to India, so it's kind of one, there's this euphoria, especially when going there. This euphoria that we're going to India, and I feel that the key to liking it is one thing, kind of I because of the fact that I've had this kind of Indian culture at home, I have still been introduced to those kind of things. And so looking, with all the things that have been talked about, going, I don't exactly remember when I went there for the first time, because, I was born in India. It's kind of seemed like it's not really a stage where I've learnt what's going on there. It's kind of, I kind of knew a rough idea of what it would be like, and just going there and seeing those things. And so going to India every year, and going there for 6 weeks, I've once again kind of formulated opinions, and they've all been good ones. And I feel that the key to enjoying it, especially as going there for a holiday, is I feel like enjoying India is, one, you kind of have to like the country before, and two, when you go there and you may think, oh no, it's all unclean, so on and so forth. Maybe in some places, especially hotels, hygiene's may be compromised, but you have to look through all of that. And when you look through all of that, there's kind of a purity about the whole place, as far as people getting on with their lives, even all not like not walking on the pavements. And it's all these things where you kind of think, especially going to India, walking like when I go in England, I can't really walk in my pajamas and flip flops on the road. I can't do that. But I'm saying I do that in India, and it's a really fun experience, and there's a whole purity about the place, just with people getting on with their lives, and that's why I'm saying that it's the fact that you see through all the things that may be unpleasant. And honestly, apart from the whole cleanliness thing, it's a great country, and I'm very happy that I was born there. Very happy that I still have relations with the Indian culture, because it's been a huge part in who I am today. And looking in India and comparing it with day to day life in England, I kind of increased the feeling of me feeling very grateful for what I have. And it's because you see a lot of people who are poor, and you do see a lot of people who are poor, and you kind of feel like, is there anything that you could do to help? And then you realize how mammoth the task is, and how many people would be going through the same situation. And you kind of feel that you kind of think, especially with like the traffic on roads and everything. When I first went to India, I was kind of a bit thinking with my emotions, kind of thinking, oh, it would be great if I'm going to move to India when I'm older. And I've said this many times. And the fact is, as I grow older now, I mean, still, like, I may go to India and spend long amounts of time there because I really like the place. But I'm saying that living there and going to, like, as a tourism kind of thing is different. And despite how much I like the place, once again, I would go and spend quite many months there if I had the money to go on the plane by myself. And it really is a great place. But I'm saying that looking at all, like, as I said, the mammoth task of how many people who kind of lived in poverty, and it really kind of the day-to-day life really seemed mechanical. And that's the reason why I kind of feel, thinking about me living in the UK and living in India, I am very happy that I do live in the UK, because the simple reason that I guess I've been offered, many, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have been offered opportunities in India, but I'm saying that I've been offered like things. I've lived a different kind of lifestyle in the UK, which I can look back to my Indian roots and say I've kind of also got this in my armory, and it's kind of changed my opinions on things. And there's one big thing that has definitely changed my opinion on effectively growing up in this country, and it's the whole India Pakistan thing. And obviously, whenever there are cricket matches, I still do want India to win, and I'll get to the cricket matches in a second. But I feel that in the UK, you have to, like, talk with people from many different backgrounds, and so there isn't really, and like, ever since, well, effectively for my whole life, I've not really had the chance to kind of establish any boundaries or this. Each and every day, my life has kind of gone, especially as far as the India Pakistan thing has gone, I've been less and less related to that whole thing. And I feel that it's because talk with a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds in the UK, and so many of my friends are Pakistani, and they coincidentally all like cricket. And there is always a thing where we do troll each other, and it isn't hostile, because we understand that there is a history between India and Pakistan, and I'm not saying there isn't at all. And people who are living in India, people who've lived in India for all their lives, would know more about that and understand more about why that would be such a thing that both countries hold to their hearts. And I'm not in a place to say anything about that, because this video is just what my view on the whole rivalry has been. And it's kind of about the fact, as I said, I've still had to talk to them, I've made friends with them, and so we've never really established any kind of these boundaries with each other. And I'm not saying that they would in India, because the first thing that the first thing that you see about someone isn't where they're from. And so that's why I'm saying that, especially when you hear all these things on the news about what goes on, I kind of feel sad for both parties, because neither, especially the soldiers, neither of them would want to fight this war. I mean, they'd all will kind of want to live in harmony, and especially you see in the cricket matches. I mean, it's kind of, people say it's a rivalry, and I feel that whenever that time comes about, it seems like a very insensitive thing, because I'm saying the players from both sides get put in such large amounts of pressure to perform and deliver the win for their countries. And Virat Kohli in the 2019 World Cup said something which I thought was a good thing to say. Actually, it was kind of that they looked at it as, if you perform well in that game, no one's gonna kind of discount your performances in further along in the tournament, where the fact is that performing in that game won't mean that you get a free pass, and performing in that game honestly won't mean that you're remembered as a hero as the tournament goes on, because as the tournament goes on, you're remembered for your successes or your failures in that particular moment. And so, and again, if you fail in don't do as well as you would have wanted to in that game, India Pakistan game, is kind of like, you're not, if you're not going to be remembered for the failure in that game. And there are plenty of other games that if you do well, and with the common goal of really getting India the World Cup, it's a good thing to say, and it's a good mentality, because it eases the pressure of an India Pakistan game, which I will come to in just now, because let's face it, it really doesn't. And I'm saying the players will, everyone will feel a pressure. I mean, there would kind of be a thing, them saying, can I be a hero, and two, will I fail? And I understand that with an international cricketer or any sportsman with that kind of very high level, there's always a self-belief that's instilled within you, that I feel that despite the fact that how we all try to talk about what they do, I don't think that we would ever get how that self-belief comes. And they kind of just freely say that they have the self-belief, and you don't even feel like they're lying, because they just do. And you must be very confident in yourself to back yourself that much, that you come through in any kind of adversity. And mostly the India Australia, I'm not again, I never wrote them off, but especially with the flourish and the way that India won in the end, I mean, it just kind of shows that it links into the fact that we really all put way too much pressure on these sports players. And it's just, even though we don't know what it's like to live in their world, and there is some idea that there's an expectation, but I don't feel like that expectation should be a detriment to their happiness, which, let's face it, the India Pakistan game, it just puts so much more stress in their minds. And it's kind of, whenever they play the game, I kind of feel like, how do they actually block everything else out and just manage to play the game on both sides? And if you win or rather than thinking that you beat the other person, the other team will get trolled by the fans of both countries. And that's why, off late, and this isn't kind of in a way to take a dig at anyone, Pakistan have lost. And I do feel very bad for them, because as cricket teams, I love India and Pakistan equally. And despite the fact that I want India to win, when that kind of derby comes around, I definitely feel that it's one, the fact that there's a huge gulf between the teams. And so cricket wise, it kind of, I understand people don't look at cricket wise for that, but I do feel very bad when there is a big gulf and the losing side gets trolled. And as I've kept on saying, it's very insensitive, the amount of pressure that we put on players from both sides to perform, and then trolling them afterwards, not knowing how it is to be in their world. I just feel like it's just not great at all. And there's also there's other, like, about the patriotism, India and England. So in India, they kind of view it as the Bharat Mata. It's kind of Mother India, and I guess it's kind of a sacred thing. Whereas in England, me personally, I mean, I love this country for just more than anything, it's just the perks. And there hasn't really been a sacred patriotism associated with this. I mean, no one really, I've heard very few people say Mother England, and I understand with the national anthem. I mean, I'm not sure if this means patriotism or not. Kind of God save the Queen, but I mean, does it mean patriotism? So I understand, the Queen is a very big monarch, but me personally, I just kind of feel that I'm not saying that anything, any view is wrong, but for me personally, I kind of have really enjoyed the life that I've had here, and with the people that they seem like, Londoners, a bit, the area I live kind of near London, and so they seem, very easygoing, and it's kind of, there are a lot of things that I've been, for example, coming from school, there are a lot of chicken shops around, apart from the ones that are branded, and like, apart from like KFC and stuff, there are other chicken shops around that you can go. And it just, I really have enjoyed like living day-to-day life. I mean, there's, public transport, TFL, so Transport for London, and it's kind of, I've had to commute. In fact, I rely on the bus to go to school every day, and so I definitely have felt that, despite the fact that all these things wouldn't be things that I'd kind of go around saying, "Oh, look at this! I live in a place where all this is there." I do secretly, within myself, I do understand how convenient all these services are, and how the fact that I've really enjoyed living here and going about my day-to-day life. And I honestly think that, as far as the relationship between two countries, I definitely feel that, looking back on my life so far, I think that it's been the most complementary thing to be an Indian and to be, linked with the UK, because it kind of provides, this new dimension that I mentioned briefly earlier. And also, I've really, enjoyed the opportunities that this country has given me. And yeah, I love both these countries, India and England. They both have contributed to my life in different ways. They both hold very high places in my life, and there are different ways that I look at each country. And yeah, there are other cultural things, for example, the food. And so, at home I eat Indian food, and mostly, basically vegetarian food. And at school, actually, I thought that I still hold the fork in my right hand and the knife in my left hand, when other people kind of hold the knife in their right hand with their dominant hand in kind of cutting the meat, because I do eat meat, and with the fork they just kind of poke it with the left hand. But I kind of always thought that I use the knife as kind of to hold it in place, and just yank it out with the fork. And so they're kind of two things that, different aspects. So obviously different food, Indian food at home, and I wouldn't really say Western food, because then again, the most I go and eat is kind of in chicken shops, and before kind of in the school canteen. But they're all those kind of things, and music is a big part. And I have taught myself how to play the keyboard. And when I say taught myself, I'm not theoretically trained, but out of what songs that I know and parts of songs that I know, Indian and English, I've had I have heard both those types of things. And so Indian, kind of from home, it was once again the whole culture thing. And it was actually, I had kind of no idea about English music, for a very long time in my life. I would say pretty much nearly all through primary school. And then as I went around, got more exposure, talked to more people, the English culture kind of came in. And so I can play songs that I know from both, cultures on the keyboard. And yeah, it's been a big way in, music is a big way that I've been able to relate to this country and India. And I've personally done it because, I enjoy playing the keyboard, and I just kind of wanted to. English music came later because I first played Indian music. And the thing is that you can tell when a music is, kind of something subcontinental with the way it sounds. It's just a certain ways that it sounds, like kind of the slides and everything. And so when I came across Western music, I really wanted to I just wanted to play even the bits that I did know on the keyboard, and then playing nearly whole songs on the keyboard. And straight away, it kind of it sounded different, and I had to play it in a different way, to a different kind of vibe to how I'd play an Indian song. And so it's once again, it just made me better at the keyboard, really, which I am very happy about. And yeah, honestly, I'm sure that's kind of me covering my background, basically where I've come from and how my life has gone. And yeah, that's my life in this country, and I'm very happy that I have been associated with India and England, as they've been, big parts in my development. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, and please share this video with your friends. And remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?